Good morning. It's John Gilkison, Aerostealth here. Um, it is Thursday, January 11th, 2024, and I've been meaning to shoot a video for quite a while, but I've kind of been stuck on my subject matter. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot the video. It's on human extinction, so I need to get it out of the way so I can concentrate on shooting some other videos. It's also a subject that I've addressed before in some of my earlier videos, and well, the impetus for just going ahead and getting off dead center was I had another subscriber the other day, and I have north of 300 subscribers, so I do want to continue to produce material for them because apparently there is a few people out there who are interested in what I have to say and what I talk about on my videos. So here we are. The thing that's had me stuck on this subject is that just a little bit of depression over the whole thing. As we get older, we more and more come to realize our own demise is not in the distant future anymore. It's more imminent, and we have to grapple with that, and we have to accept it. I have come to call this whole process for modern day humans a double whammy, because if you're cognizant about what's going on, it's not just your own demise that's coming in the next 10-20 years. It's the extinction of the human race. It's and you won't be around to see it, most likely, meaning people my age. However, your children and grandchildren will be the one who'll have to live through this and suffer. They already are, in some extent. My children don't have the opportunities I had already because of the economics of the situation. The economy is being affected by climate change, by the way, and we don't hear about that on the news, but it's, number one, it's costing us more and more every year because of climate-related disasters. Also, it drives up the price of goods, foods, and so forth. So, it is destabilizing the economy. However, that's just the economy is just a subset of the whole environmental support system for life on Earth. And anyway, be that as it may, I like to say that we, people of my generation, caught the last helicopter out of Saigon, a reference to Americans leaving Vietnam in 1975. And climate-wise and where we are in our life, there's a certain element of truth to that. For example, I worked for 24 years at the university here as a jet turbine operator, and operated chillers and boilers and so forth. And I retired, and I have a fairly good retirement system with the state of New Mexico that pays me a stipend every month. And of course, I've got Social Security still. Republicans haven't got their greedy hands on it to destroy it. yet. Uh, so me and my wife's in the same situation. Um, as retirees, we lead a pretty good life, more than many other retirees do that only can rely on Social Security, for example. Because it's not enough. Um, However, I don't see that kind of future coming for my children or grandchildren. We own a house now. We built a house in the 1990s, and we recently refinanced it, got rid of a bunch of debt. Our house payments went up, of course, and because of higher interest rates, but we figure at our age, I mean, it's possible we could refinance it again in the future, but at our age, it's just not relevant anymore. We'd be better off paying off high interest debt with a loan that's lower interest rate than the debt, and that we would have more cash flow, which would affect our quality of life in a positive manner with our remaining years. And so that's kind of what we did. Back to the subject matter at hand, though, I just don't see a future like that for my children and grandchildren. I don't know what kind of retirement plans will be around, whether they'll be able to have the benefits that we had in our working lives, and that the dollar relative to what it was in the past. In other words, working as good a jobs as we worked, their income won't be able to do as much as ours did while we were coming up because of this economic degradation caused by our climate catastrophe that we're in. Well, anyway, the subject matter at hand, though, has to do with scientists warning us that we've crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius aspirational goal to keep the climate underneath. Well, that's the whole thing's disingenuous. There was never any way to stop it from coasting over 1.5 degrees, as there's no way that even if we ceased emitting carbon, this decade, let's say, for example, that we could stop the climate from coasting over 2 degrees Celsius and then on up. And the reason for that is we've initiated so many feedback loops that are self-reinforcing. For example, because we've warmed up the Arctic and the Northern Hemisphere a great deal, we're releasing a lot of methane. And that methane is pushing up global warming at an accelerating rate. And that's what the most recent news in the last year was, that global warming is accelerating. As it's predicted to do, it's on an exponential curve up. And quite frankly, there's no way we can continue to support 8 billion people, because we're in what I call a vast population overshoot on a planet where we've destabilized the climate through the use of fossil fuels, and those fossil fuels are the only thing that make 8 billion people possible. But that's only for the short term. Once we cannot grow food at scale anymore, in the grain belts around the planet, we're in a lot of trouble. And we could see massive die-offs this century of several billion people. I think the figure quoted is 6 billion. But we need to get the population, at any rate, needs to be gotten underneath 1 billion people. I'd say we're overpopulated by at least a factor of 10. And the only way that renewables really could work for us on a low carbon society would be that the population was reduced by a factor of 10. Now, the problem with reducing our population by a massive die-off due to starvation is there's no way of telling if we could stop before it goes to zero. If we so destabilize our societies and that we're, all of a sudden there's only 1 billion people on the planet, who's to say it won't keep going down, down, down until there's not enough people left to maintain a society, especially on an overheated planet. So this is what's been on my mind recently, that accepting the fact that not only is my personal life coming to an end the next 10, 20 years, but the whole human race is going to go after me, and my children and my grandchildren are the ones that are going to suffer. They didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for it. When I was born in 1950, I didn't come out of the birth canal saying, oh, I'm ready to tackle global warming, which is going to kill us all. Didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about global warming for the first 20, 30 years of my life. Blissfully ignorant. And but the thing that got me in thinking about this and wanting to shoot this video has to do with human nature. And I think it's one of the primary reasons that we cannot really solve this global warming crisis, this climate catastrophe that we've initiated. It has to do with the hierarchical systems of human nature. In other words, we're a species, like most species are, that work on dominance and power, and people will do anything to get to the top of the heap, and they're attracted by being powerful, and having control over others. And it's these systems that are built into human nature. I mean, all creatures display it. So it's not just human nature, it's biological nature. And there's also the impetus for all creatures to fill every ecological niche that they're capable of exploiting, and to the maximum, until they've depleted it. And you could see that in bacteria even, so, or algae, or whatever. So we're no different, and our intelligence doesn't seem to have any ability to countermand this. So, and we've filled every ecological niche on the planet there is to fill. And right now, us and the cattle we keep, and the sheep, and the other animals we keep, apparently occupy about 90-95% of the biosphere. Although I'm not sure that's quite true. I don't know how that figure's quoted, because as I understand it, bacteria and smaller microbial life make up a large percentage of the biosphere. And although we do exploit some of these things, we don't dominate them. However, I'm not a biologist, so I didn't even sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, so don't take my word for it. But, so there you are. And I think COP28 was a perfect example of that. The oil industry has been behind the scenes in all these COPs, but they came out in the open in COP28 in Dubai, I think, where it was held, and they took it over. and the document produced there was worthless, and we're not on a path to do anything other than business as usual. And I'm a big advocate of solar and wind and electric cars, and I've been watching the FUD over the last several years grow and grow and grow. The disinformation campaign to dissuade people from buying electric cars is just tremendous. They must spend millions and millions of dollars on this. And it's unbelievable to me how many average people take these propaganda talking points that they have up as their personal information without question. It's like they hear it from each other. I mean, they read it online or whatever, but they hear it from each other. And that's why I really got such a tickle out of this cartoon where this doctor-like character was holding up a picture of a doll, or holding up a doll, I forget which, but anyway, he's saying, tell us where the electric car hurt you. Point to the place on your body where the electric car hurt you, because so many people out there, their hair's on fire about electric cars, and they're just cars. I don't like internal combustion engine vehicles, and I'm not going to buy another one, but my hair's not on fire about them. It's not something I'm worried that they're a diabolical plot to kill us all, although they are. It seems like. I think there's a little irony in this, but anyway, they're just better. Electric cars are better, and efficiency's a better way to go. One of the things that, one of my pet peeves is we have some people who go around saying, well, just live your life to the best of your ability, because nothing you can do can help with climate change. In other words, they're totally dismissing renewable energy, solar, electric cars, energy efficiency, or anything else. And I said, well, why are you doing that? Because if you institute efficiencies right in your life, you have more disposable income. So if you want to live the rest of your life to the best of your ability, enjoy the time you have left, wouldn't better more cash flow and not just spending a bunch of money on energy you don't need to stay comfortable because you're not using it very efficiently? It makes no sense, the whole argument. And I once pointed out to a guy, McPherson, who's a pretty famous doomist on the internet, that I showed him my kerosene lantern, and I said, here's an LED lamp, and it's 7,000 times more energy efficient than a kerosene lantern. Why would we want to go back to spending 7,000 times more energy per lumen to light our spaces? It makes no sense. And he didn't have anything to say because he doesn't know energy flows. He doesn't know how efficiency can be, and he just dismisses it in a general, what I call a Podsnap flourish from Dickens. So there you have it. That's my video on near-term human extinction, and I don't know, I can't prove it. I can't say that if we had less than 1 billion people that humanity could sustain itself on renewable energy and near zero carbon output. But I think it's so, and I think the logistics of producing all this infrastructure wouldn't be so daunting if there weren't 8 billion people. In other words, if the task at hand was 10 times less, and if society collapses, we can live a long time off of just what's left from the old society. as you see in all the dystopian movies. So I do not know about this. Well, the loss of the stratospheric ozone due to nuclear meltdowns and it heating things up to like 150 degrees, like in the movie Finch. I'm not saying that's not a possibility, but I don't really have any good information on that. I do know that part of the reason that global warming is accelerating, according to Hansen and others, is that we've lost some aerosol masking due to the new maritime rules on lower sulfur fuel for shipping. But my position on that's always been we need to take the haircut because we can't continue to use fossil fuels and to protect ourselves. That's a circular argument, and that just doesn't wash. So there we are. Well, good luck, everyone. My position is I don't know when the demise of the human race is coming. I can't tell you it's going to be on Thursday or Friday or anything like that, like Guy McPherson used to be able to do. And that was my biggest disagreement with him, was predicting literally the year sometimes. That I can't see how we're going to all live past 2023. Well, here we are. So, as I've said in the past, my special name for that is people predicting the future like this. They're Nostradamuses instead of Nostradamus. But that doesn't win me a lot of friends. But it's a good term nonetheless. At least I like it. Take care, everyone. Whatever time each of us have left, it is up to us to make the most out of it. And that's what me and my wife are trying to do here, trying to enjoy our grandchildren and still travel a little bit while we still got our health and so forth. So, and stay busy. So, Happy New Year, everyone. 2024 is here. My 2024 journal is now named the Apocalypse Journal. So this has been on my mind a little bit recently. Bye-bye. We'll see you on down the road.